Is this Bravo or Comedy Central? Let's get into it. Howdy, hi, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to talk about the extra scene for the Summer House season. You know, I did the episode last week. Thanks for the views, friends. Thanks for the likes. So I did say I want to close that out. So we're going to do that now. I have a few points I wanted to bring up. So let's jump right to it. All right, number one shouldn't be very surprising. It's Amanda is a chosen victim. The whole time she's sitting there and she talks about the situation, how she got pulled in and how he chased her and how she just wanted to feel touched and loved. And you feel yourself feeling the sympathy for that because, like, at least the way that she was talking about it feels very relatable when you've gotten out of a situation with someone that you've like cared about deeply, or maybe it just wasn't good and you're just like craving for attention. um, but at her big ass age, I'm sure the rest of us had had enough sense to say, you know what I shouldn't do is go after this certain person. It's like, even if you were to do that with a stranger or someone on a dating app, maybe someone that was kind of in your friend circle that isn't one connected to your job. Because let's not forget, as much as reality TV and like they're friends because of the show. It's like when you're at a company, like when you leave that company, you're going to have like one, maybe two people that you like stay connected with for the most part. Um, Most of the time, you just end up falling off because the relationship was based off of that situation. So you can't look at it with the same depth of, oh, I'm, this person, even when you get close to these people, right? Like, I've worked a couple corporate jobs. My first one, I kept a good handful of friends, but like definitely was hanging out with more of them often when we all worked at the same company. So there's something about understanding the dynamic of that relationship, that is, one, again, connected to your job, two, connected to someone that you do consider a friend. And you talk about the challenge of that, and this person being connected to someone that caused your so-called friend hurt. It should have been, I would never entertain this, but you decided to entertain it. You realized that you were allowing this to happen. At no point did you say, I need to do therapy, I just need to say cut this off, and you allowed yourself to be here. I understand the feelings and I understand the journey of getting there, but you had several opportunities to ensure this doesn't happen. Like, you're talking about all these times he invited you out. That was your first flag of like, I probably should just be not hanging out with him, or just telling him directly, like, I don't think it's actually appropriate with everything going on right now that you're hanging out in this way or this often. Or even ask the question, is anyone else from the house going to be there? No? Suspect. Okay, point number two. Lindsay is speaking for the audience, right? So now I think people have had their challenges with Lindsay. I'm people, okay? She has been a very challenging and difficult person, but I do think, especially after she just needed to leave Carl, they both needed to leave each other. I was like, you're a lot more fun. Um, the way that she was talking to Amanda, she's like, at what point, what's not clicking? Why is this not making sense? You need to leave this man. And I'm so glad she just said that the way it is. She's like, you are talking about how you're so vulnerable and you just wanted this touch. She's like, that's not going to last. You've seen the pattern. You know, he did it to Sierra. He did it to Miha. He did it to these other women that he's just been dating that you're aware of, that you've seen over the past 3 years. So why do you think you're any different? It's going to happen to you, okay? And now you've like destroyed your support system. She's being very honest about it, which I appreciate. And her telling him to leave him was great. I have had many friends, usually my girlfriends, sometimes some of my guy friends too. They're like, this relationship and it's not good. And usually I've been privy to see or to like know the partner versus them being like a rando or someone that I've not been familiar with. So when they're talking about it, I at least have some sense of like, I know you feel this way, but it's like nuance because like you're living with them right now or whatever. But a lot of the times they're like, and it's not been good and I haven't been enjoying them. And they're like, do you think I should stay? And I was like, it's not about what I think. They're like, but if you were me, I was like, if I was you, I would think about all the things that are important to me that you have brought up to me, your complaints. I'd think about how I tried to fix them and how they haven't gotten better. And so, no, I wouldn't stay. And that was my nice way of being like, of course you should fucking leave. Like, let's not be dense. But for some people, you just need to say, in your words, you said this is what you want in a relationship. You have told me that you have tried these things and over time it has not gotten better. So the only solution is to break up. There is no other solution. You have a big problem. You're not able to get over it. You've done work to get over it. It still hasn't changed. Baby, that's it. That's the end of the story. This is not a novel. This is a children's book. It's short and quick. You know what? We tried it. It didn't work. Close the chapter. That's all. But people have a hard time with that. And I looked at Amanda and I thought about those conversations I've had with friends, and I'm like, she ain't leaving. She ain't leaving. Point three, West was more honest with Kyle about what was going on in that situation because Kyle is not a woman. West has a harder time being honest with women, or a harder time where he just chooses for that to be the case. The way that he was a little more honest with Kyle about how he felt over time. And I do more and more believe that like nothing again physical happened, but like emotional things happened. The way that Kyle was pointing it out, he's like, you can see it during the back half of the season too. West is very familiar with, and Kyle pointed this out, being very touchy and handsy with people to make them feel close, and he uses that to draw them in, and then he uses his like chill guy personality to make them feel comfortable, and just uses a bunch of nonsense words that he never backs up with action. Okay? And Kyle pointed that out, but he doesn't have that handsiness, or he can't do that handsiness with the men in the house. So he has no option but to be more honest about the situation than he does with the women, because he can always touch, put the hand on the leg, and give this kind of physical affirmation that a lot of these women are seeking. And he definitely, at least instinctually, knows to go after women who are going to be easily swayed when he offers that kind of interaction with them. So I thought that was interesting. Also, love dogs. I found a dog to be quite distracting in the scene. I said I think you needed to bring a dog walker because both of you actually couldn't focus on the conversation in the way that it needed the attention. And then something was happening, and then the dog kept coughing, and I'm like trying to listen. So I had to keep rewinding, and I'm like, all right, I'm overstimulated. Now the dog was so cute. I said, have it there at the beginning, get the dog walker, take it out, and let's get down to conversation. It also felt like, I know they're not cognitively like a child, but it did feel like having the dog there felt like you're not going to say certain things. It gave that kind of energy of like, if the dogs weren't there, I think the conversation would have been different. Point number four, it's kind of a hot take. And I say this because it's going to be harsh, but I am not blaming her, okay? Miha played a stupid game and she won a stupid prize, right? Like there's this idea of like, oh, it's fun to move in the show. Anyone here was like, yes. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm not saying yes because I've been that before or done that before. Like, oh yeah, it's fun if like no one knows. And you get your feelings hurt. And it's because, oh, I thought I meant something and we were here, but now I'm seeing you with this person. And I guess technically maybe you are allowed to be with that person, but I liked that this was a hidden thing. If you're important to someone, you're not going to be hidden. Now there's something to say about like, let's give this time as we like build this up so we don't necessarily have to be very public, especially when you're like on a reality show, right? You didn't have to go and you have to post me, you have to do all these things. But it was clear that you were okay with being this nice little secret, and that set you up to be just that, a secret, not a secret relationship, just a secret. And so I hope she learned a lesson that day, right? Because there's something that is fun about like, ooh, we're both in this together. And then you find out over time when you end up in those situations that you were the one that was ooh, it hurt, don't it? You were the one that was left out of the situation. And that takes time to recover. That's a hefty therapy bill. Because that knocks your trust, your self-worth, a lot of those things, which you can see that she's struggling with now. I again had to struggle with that. So I hope she learned a lesson. Like, that was a stupid game to play, right? Someone of value that you want to build with, especially in the way that she was building things with West over time. She should have required for herself to have a standard to say, let's be specific about what's happening. Even if I were like keeping a secret for the show's sake, here are the things that you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to kiss or date someone. You can say, I'm kind of seeing and talking to someone, but I don't want to mess it up, so I'm not going to be bad boying it this summer. Whatever way you want to have that conversation. And he's allowed to say no. He's allowed to say, no, I just see this relationship as being this. And then she said, great, but I don't want to participate in that. You wash your hands and you both walk away. So just for next time, girl, keep that in mind. The last thing I want to say was Sierra did seem more at peace. Definitely not. I don't want to use over it. I definitely, you can tell, still like hurt and bothered by the situation, but like more in the sense when you look back, you're like, oh God. And then I can't believe I did this. I'm like, can you still believe this is going on? Where you feel like you can be a little more removed from it. And that felt nice to see, right? Because this is still only a few weeks after the taping of the reunion, which tensions and energy was just so high. So I'm glad to see that. Okay, Jonathan. I'm glad to see that she is being able to ground herself more. These other, oh, you can tell I'm tired. You can tell these other opportunities are also coming along, which are feeding her. You know, she was hosting one of the episodes of Love Island recently. And so it's just really nice to see how she is coming out on the other side of this experience. And I'm wishing nothing for the best of her. I'm glad to see Miha has someone that she's able to connect to. It's always helps having someone that's in a similar boat with you when you're going through something. So I'm glad that they have each other for that. So yeah, I know people are like, bring her on the next season of Summer House. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I see it for her, but I'm not opposed to like giving her a chance. There's some other people I don't want to see. And we know West isn't coming back. Praise the Lord. People were like, Traitors, they said no, House of Villains. You could put him on House of Villains. I was like, he is not because I don't want to see him on my screen, but like for reality TV's sake, if you're doing a show called House of Villains, he makes sense. My question isn't really about him, it's more about Amanda, if she's going to stay on in the city or not. This has really shaken up Bravo, so I don't think they even know what they want to do with her yet. You can put her on Traitors. Yeah, I think they're both. You'll get one other season sometime, and I hope they save and invest that money because, baby, you both have one more season in Bravo for the rest of your career, most likely. So make it last, or don't do what you want. I truly don't give a shit, but I know I don't want to see you on my screens consistently. And okay, so that's all, friends. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. The subscribes have been coming in, so it really does mean a lot to me. Love y'all and have a great day. Bye.